Hey guys, Tone here, and today I figured I'd do a quick impromptu recap of the video I uploaded a couple of days ago, the Cogmind Soundscapes video. This is from the Beta 10 pre-release. Basically, Cogmind just got a bunch of new ambient audio added to the game. Every floor essentially has an ambient background track, and then every single machine in the game, and they are all over the place, has its own sound to it. And as you explore the levels, the volumes change with how your proximity to everything. So it creates this really cool ambient soundscape as you're exploring, and it actually really changes the mood to the game. And like the factory sounds like a factory. Research sounds kind of it's got all these like sci-fi sounding stuff. I don't know. Watch the video, you'll see. You can skip around. And here we go right away. And in the top right, there's actually a visual indicator of all the sounds you're hearing, which is really cool. That got added as well. So if you're curious what anything sounds like, feel free to look up there. Anyways, the whole reason I'm doing the recap is so we can just talk about the game, the playthrough, and the strategy, because since that video was, the intent was to explore the sounds, we didn't actually, zero commentary. I turned off all the UI sounds, I turned off all the combat noise. It is literally just the ambient and machine sound. So I figured we'd try and do a quick recap here. I'm just sitting on one wheel right now. So the other thing was I wanted to play through the game quickly. So it's played almost like a speed run or something. I'm not trying to think about too much stuff. I'm just kind of racing through the game. If I'm digging a sound, if we're getting good vibes from something, we'll hang out next to a machine. I'll come closer and explore rooms and stuff. So that's kind of the intent of it. It ended up being a pretty interesting game. And I think I will turn it on the playback speed up. And I'll have to manually skip around a bit as well. It looks like I got a branch access hack off, so we know that the mines are right here. I want to try and hit up exiles. And the intent of this game is, there's really no spoilers here. I'm just trying to race through and not visit too many branches, really. We did visit extension and testing later in the run, but I didn't explore them, so if you're concerned about not like wanting to explore those for yourselves, I don't think it really ruins anything. I mean, you'll see a little bit, but I basically just went straight for the exits because those two maps have predictable exits. So materials, I'm doing my standard materials thing. I pretty much do the same thing every time here. I like to ride on one wheel and then fill the rest of my prop slots with treads. And then in combat, I will swap that wheel out for treads. The treads give you extra accuracy, they give you coverage, so they basically act as armor. And they give you recoil reduction if you're using kinetics that have recoil. So they work pretty well. We got a grenade launcher early on, which is great to have. The main things you want on like the first materials floor generally is a grenade launcher and storage. Basically, all of the materials floors have a storage cache where you get some large storage units, which is always nice. If you want hackware, you can grab hackware there. It looks like I found one off of an operator. They're pretty nice. I'm going to be playing combat here, although flight would be a nice way to explore things, but I figured we'd go combat. Listen to that. We got our new the mine sound, which in my mind it's pretty fitting with like, I don't know how you can get the infestation event in the mines, because it's a little, I don't know, ominous. But, yeah, cool stuff. Here, let's try skipping around a bit. Okay, we run straight to exiles. And we're on double speed right now, so the speed is going on double. I'm looking for large storage, high cap storage, and humpbacks here. I really like humpbacks and materials. And I also just grabbed matter storage and energy storage, which I like early in the game. So humpbacks are good storage and they're armor. So they're pretty slot efficient early on when you don't have a lot of slots. That terminal, the first entry there, has tells you where Zion is. So I grabbed that, even though we're not going to go to Zion. I grabbed Farcom from there. It felt perfect for this kind of run. And I take a look at the goodies here. Since we're actually doing Farcom, I can grab one of these. Actually, I could have stole all of these and lost Farcom since I'm not going into branches. I equipped the PSU rigger because I apparently didn't have it in my gallery yet. So that adds that there. And then we grabbed the thermal, or the AWS thermal, which is a pretty cool weapon. It shoots on its own, so you can like walk around and it shoots stuff. Pretty strong. It'll break eventually. End up fighting some swarmers here. Yeah, just pull out the grenade launcher. We're going to take some damage ourselves, but if I was going to shoot them with assault rifles, there's a lot of variance in combat, and it could have taken a while to kill a few of them. Alright, so that's the mines. Went to exiles. Let's kind of just jump around. I'm not trying to go... Okay, so the mines jumps you to -8 materials. You skip a floor, or I'm sorry, exiles does. You skip a floor when you go to exiles at -10. Because it always drops you a -8. If you find them a -9, then it drops you a -8, so you don't skip a floor in that case. You can attack haulers in the materials without getting reinforcements called on you. It's usually pretty good to do. -10 haulers don't have anything useful in them, like ever. But you can find some decent weapons and stuff on -9 and -8. And if you're going for a flight build, you get those prototype flight units. They drop are really good. You could use an improved flight unit for almost the whole game. They're seriously pretty solid for flight. One thing I wanted to do here, but I forgot about, was I wanted to go into the garrison on -8, but I ended up just going to the next floor once I took an exit. So we ended up going to a garrison on -7. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to be able to keep track of our alert, and also to be able to use NC couplers to reduce it. Since I knew I wasn't going to be going into any branches this run, the caves are a pretty good way to reduce your alert. And we're playing combat, so it seemed like that was something we were going to want a better way to manage, so I went with Riff. I think getting 1 tier of Riff is really strong. I think a lot of people kind of sleep on that. But I think I like it a lot, and I will consider doing it on pretty much every combat run, honestly. I think it is very strong. And this run, it proved to not be terribly strong. Alright, I think we just go out that exit. We get to factory. We got a new ambient background track. And new machines. My first evolve was 1 prop, 1 utility. That's pretty much my go-to on the first floor most runs. I think that's really strong. And then I'm leaning into wheels this run. I just decided to do that. I need to do some analysis on it. But I think, I don't know, wheels seem really good. I want to see if they're better than legs in a lot of ways. They don't give you coverage that a lot of like legs or treads give you, but they're very easy to find and they make you faster, and I prioritize speed a lot. So if I had legs right now, I'd probably be like ×2 overweight, which would put me at like 180 or something. It would not be great. But right now I'm rolling on only 2 wheels and we're at 130, so that's a pretty big improvement. The downside is you need to grow utility slots to wear armor to use the wheels, or use with the wheels typically. But I feel like they save you propulsion slots, so you can use some of that armor, and even with other propulsion, you're going to want armor anyways. So it kind of works out, but I kind of want to play a full legs game and a full wheel game at some point, just do a bit of a comparison there. I think wheels are pretty good. I'm still using that humpback. We're getting to the point where I like to move on from that. Since it acts as armor, it gets blown up and then you lose all your parts. They just spill all over the ground, which is not great. Cool, we just got... I don't know why I went with branch access there. But at some point here, I realized I want to go into the garrison. And that's where we head. Yeah, I did a garrison access there. So before you get Riff, your alert slowly goes up while you're in a garrison, just passively, which is really dangerous. And this entrance is brutal. I go back up top here, but I don't think it helps us much. I have a really tough time blowing these guys up with my grenade launcher for some reason. But yeah, it didn't wrap around or anything. We did get to check for some couplers. The main things I want are NC couplers. They're nice for getting easy hauler loot. You can get some watcher route hacks, which is like a nice supplement for InfoWar, and you can reduce your alert. And if you go to research branches later, they're really good in there as well. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with NC couplers, which you only need 1 tier riff for. I grabbed, I think, a grunt, hunter, and sentry coupler there. I don't think I end up using them. Actually, I don't end up using them at all this run. Yeah, this garrison gets pretty brutal. We end up fighting a lot here, but once we get through that, it's pretty easy. If you take out one of these pockets, you can generally slide, sneak past it without opening the other ones. I have to deal with some swarmers, which is going to wake up these guys. This was not a great garrison. At least there wasn't a behemoth in there, though. The name of the game is really to find the relay interface as quick as possible. That guy got crushed. That was awesome. Oh, matter crushed. That's interesting. I've never seen that. 3 matter crushed. Because once you get the relay interface, your influence stops climbing. So we're at 527. That's probably pretty low when we got in here. I was wondering what kind of hover units that Demolisher had. We can't, I think I tried clicking on it, but you can't do that. And this is kind of dumb, but I decided to go fight it. But it just like started shooting me with rockets, and it ruined its own salvage. So it's not like I could get anything from it. I don't know. Like I said, I was playing fast. I tried to get cute there, so it did a lot of damage to us. But taking damage like that, it really is not a big deal. And no NC couplers. Okay, and we just leave here. Like I said, I'm not trying to play optimally. So we're on -7 again. It dropped us back on the same floor. We did not get an evolution. I found a terrain scanner where I'm using, especially when you're in slower combat. Here's one of the other nice perks with rifts. You can detect and seal garrisons easily. I also check the coupler status. There's a behemoth coupler in there, but I just didn't bother. I just shut the thing down. You can do a force eject or destroy it to get the couplers. If you destroy it, there's a chance that they get damaged. So my plan here is to stick with 2 weapon slots, maybe get a 3rd in the game. So we're using energy cannons, which is what I do with 2 weapon slots. It's hard to do gunslinging, at least, well, especially with kinetics, unless you have treads to manage the recoil. Although I am carrying a recoil stabilizer, so I did consider that, and a matter filter. We weren't really committed to anything quite yet. But yeah, stockpile of plasma cannons is pretty good. I like to have a nice thermal cannon to deal with programmers. They're weak to both thermal and kinetics. On a hammer we're using as a digging tool. Got some heat sinks on since we're using thermal cannons. I think I grabbed that data jack because we don't have one yet. I mostly want to use it to find chutes, so we don't fall in them. If you data jack a surf, you can detect chutes. But also we need one in case I want to jack an operator. If I get some NC couplers, that's how you reduce your alert. Our alert's pretty low at the moment, though. That's a melee data jack, so we're not going to be using it for combat bots, even though I think I do have a few couplers still. Tried to juke that ARC, and instead of pulling out my launcher, I wanted to keep that terminal intact. So I tucked in there and I just... Was I using a hammer? I think I was. I just meleeed them with a hammer. I don't know if I've ever killed anything with an impact weapon. There you have it. Actually, Core Stripper's impact. That's a good weapon. Look like we found our exits from that hack, so we can leave through that door to the right. I was trying to put a Disrupt Trojan on there because I know we're going to fight this Hunter in a second. I threw on these EM weapons because they are weak to EM. It is quite effective against them. I get into a lot of trouble. There was a programmer, hunter, and a sentry there, so we just dip into the exit. I decided to evolve a power slot early this time. Oh, you know why? It's because I was using EM weapons, and in particular, I was just using EM weapons there. And those are a big drain on your energy. So I decided to use another power slot, and I somehow got caught without a power source here. I must have got blown up in the last fight and I didn't realize it or something. So even though I just evolved one, we don't even have any engines. So we're having some trouble here swapping things and detaching them. I equipped the AWS Thermal because I don't believe it uses energy. So that worked out pretty well. We got some friends from an ambush trap. I hijacked the surf to find a chute, and there happens to be one right there. I get greedy. There was some kind of processor there, so I jump in there. But we've got a cleared out chutes, or in waste, which is pretty lucky. With wheels, you can kind of outmaneuver. We're moving at 120. We could have dealt with crushers that are normally spawned down here. I don't think we would have been able to kill them, but we could have evaded them and gotten out of here. I'm parsing these guys just for gallery, I think, because I don't know if I've ever done that. We end up leaving here with some decent parts, I believe. I definitely grabbed 2 pieces of damper plating. I don't think there's anything in this stockpile. Actually, I think I grabbed that armor. It was medium. I replaced my light armor. Spent a little bit of time managing our inventory there because we found a lot of cool stuff on the ground. So earlier I picked up a recalibrator and a component analysis suite. So I used both of those here to identify the prototypes I didn't have identified, and the recalibrator to fix the broken parts. Because you find a lot of out of death, but beat up and broken stuff down here. And I really have no clock here, so I went ahead and just took advantage of that to identify all that stuff. So having those utilities was pretty helpful there. And then I beat up the Demolisher because I felt like he'd get me in a lot of trouble on the next floor. Actually, I don't know. I could have killed all these guys. Having this many allies kind of gets you into more trouble than it helps often. Let's drop me back on -6. I got damper plating. So I equipped 3 pieces of armor. If I need the EM resistance from damper plating, I'm going to equip the damper plating instead of these 3. I grabbed 2 energy filters at one point, which is really nice for EM. It reduces the energy cost of your weapons. Nice, I'm getting all these exit hacks. I wonder if we leave here right away or not. Oh, I got a quantum capacitor. I got a compact HERF cannon, a tactical quantum warhead down there. Improved weapon cycler. 2 things of damper plating. So pretty good shoots, all things considered. Oh, I took that staircase and we jumped up to -5 already. Got 2 more utility slots. So we've evolved 1 power, 1 propulsion, and a bunch of utility. Still using a humpback, oddly enough. That humpback, I remember just like waiting for it to lose like a lot of integrity, and it wasn't getting hit for some reason. Since I had 2 damper platings, I think I'm just using one here for armor. The other one I'm probably going to save for programmer extermination squads. Alright, we found an NC coupler in a garrison, so I used force eject to get it out. And then I don't think well, that shuts it down, so I didn't get to seal it afterwards. And I just left it. And that is actually the only NC coupler we find all game, so Riff ended up not being great for us. I took advantage of knowing my influence at a few points, and I was able to guide my decisions, but overall it wasn't that great. Looks like I found 3 improved proton missile launchers, excuse me, in there. I've got a targeting computer now, an energy well, improved cooling systems, those are from waste as well. Those and the antimatter reactor were from the crushers as well, so that was pretty good. Alright, all my guys get into a lot of trouble here. Oh, I remember this place was really awkward. There wasn't like really an exit out of this corner. So I spent a lot of time like juking around and trying to get out of here. And I think I like eventually rotate back and I can't get out, so I had to wait till there weren't like a ton of patrols there. There was like more than I wanted to fight in the wide open. So we put on damper plating, that just makes these programmers tickle a bit. It's 90% EM resistance. Okay, we do sneak out here, it looks like. I have to fight these guys. Throw on that proton missile launcher, why not? EM launchers are pretty sweet. If you have damper plating, you can just face tank your own EM missiles and just like shoot things at point blank, which is kind of cool. I think I do that at one point in the game, but we don't like make a build out of that. It'd be fun to do that at some point though. Maybe I'll try that one of my runs. Damper plating's kind of broken. I legitimately think it needs a nerf. Looks like we only found 1 terminal on this map so far. We're not like getting anywhere fast. This terrain scanner is doing great for us. I'm happy about that. But yeah, it looks like we get stuck on this map for a while. Pretty nasty factory floor, actually. There's been a lot of enemies on this map. Swapped EM to fight these guys. I think this damper plating is my only armor at this point. That's why I'm using it. I have a pretty big inventory right now. Damn, they shredded my damper that fight. Which is good because it would have shredded my other stuff if I didn't have it on. I remember having like a ton of weapons, like 8 thermal cannons and like 6 EM weapons. And I was like, is this too many? And like I said, I wasn't trying to do too much thinking, so I didn't do anything about it at the time. But in the end, I got pretty slim on those stocks, so I think having all that storage is pretty good. A lot of people say I use too much storage, but storage has so much value in a lot of ways. I like carrying utilities that cleanse my corruption, that identify prototypes, that repair things. These terrain scanners, I like carrying backup armor, backup weapons, backups of anything you need, really. It reduces variance by having backups for everything, and some items are that you like and you want are rare. So if you find a stockpile, you need to carry those, otherwise you might not have them again when you need them again. And of course, I have two things of damper plating, so that's filling up a lot of my inventory right now as well. Still waiting for that humpback to break. I'm halfway through the game. I still have it. I've got two large storage in my units ready, or two large storage units in my inventory ready to replace it. Yeah, we ended up back at the beginning, and there's no way out. This is what I was thinking of earlier. It's really annoying. There's like one tiny place that this funnels through. Crazy. I think I was avoiding being near this garrison with all these enemies around. So you just activated the garrison access. I like let them wander away after sealing the garrison. Our influence is pretty good. Not making too much of a mess, apparently. Oh, so I lost something here. Oh, I lost my heavy armor. So I took off my heavy armor to put on the damper plating to fight some programmers. And some recycler got away with it. So that's what I'm looking for now. So now I don't think I have backup armor. I just have my damper plating. Which is not something I want to... That'll get... It's got very high coverage. It'll get chipped off and beat up like really quickly. And I want to save it to be fighting programmers. Okay, looks like we found an exit. Finally. I had a signal interpreter, so I was able to check where it leads. It's going to factory. I was trying to avoid the caves under the branches. So now that I know where that leads, I'm kind of just poking around the surrounding rooms, because I can always just run back here if I need to. Once I know I'm ready to leave a floor, if I know there's no enemies around, which we know because of Farcom, we're just kind of going around. I scanalized the quantum capacitor. We don't actually do any fabbing this run. I was considering fabbing a large storage unit earlier. That's the other schematic that I have. But I didn't feel like it was worth fabbing at least not a large storage unit, because if I got a lockout from a fabricator, that adds 400 influence, which is like 2 alert levels. Like, you're getting assaults instantly from that, which I didn't want to deal with. Centrium wheel. Those things are really good. I think we went from 130 to 125 movement speed. There's a Herf cannon. We're getting to the stage where those are getting common. I picked up 3 long-range proton cannons somewhere, which are pretty good. EM cannons. Let's look at my build. I've been using the Q-cap now, so I'm using 1 energy cannon and the quantum capacitor. The quantum capacitor, you can only fire 1 weapon at a time, but it shoots twice as fast, which is really nice. That was an improved hacking suite right there, and I'm kind of dancing around these Hellfire traps, which is kind of scary next to this other explosive machinery. Oh no, the advanced shield generator is what I grabbed. 25% damage reduction at a 1-to-2 energy ratio, I think, which is really nice. Trying to get some nice defensive utilities. I think I was going to try and repair that compact Herf cannon. Oh no, I was going to try and repair the antimatter reactor. That got beat up, so I took it off, but it's a really good engine. Swapping out the damper, because we've got programmers coming. I found a Nova cannon somewhere. Take out that signal interpreter. I left it on in case we found another exit right away, but now I actually need like combat utility. Boom. QCAP Nova cannon. And an improved particle charger. Thing is nice. This is a fun way to play. When I use the most of my combat runs lately, I've been treaded kinetic gunslinging builds. They have a whole different set of utilities and processors they like to use. So using like Q caps and particle chargers and energy filters and all that stuff with this kind of build, it was pretty fun for a change. Swap to the Herf cannon to finish off this grunt. I have a lot of trouble hitting him though. Oh, so right here I recognize a prefab branch exit. This is the entrance to extension. And it always has a terminal there, so I knew that's where that guy was from. So I waited till he walked away, then assimilated him at the terminal. And then I think I go for an alert purge. Although I'm at 93, I wouldn't have done much. It's probably going to drop to almost 0 when I go through this door. 45, cut in half. So this is extension. A lot of it's at the top half. There's an exit if you just follow the bottom, so that's basically where I go to, although it is guarded. I have to fight a behemoth. In beta 10, you can't use go-to on allies, so I have to tell him to stay preemptively. Then I use my Q-capped Herf cannon to fight the behemoth. Make sure I check out my damper plating, because he would shoot right through that. Unfortunately, I only have medium armor. I prefer heavy armor. I know that this style has a lot of kinetics, so I put on the advanced focal shield, which is 30% resistance. Very nice. I've got my Q-cap and particle charger. My energy is getting low, so I don't have. I do have an energy filter. Okay, I just threw it on. There we go. And that went a lot easier than I thought it would. He dropped some armor, advanced cooling system, and a good engine, I think. So that's what I take from there. And I basically pull the sentries. What's interesting is sentries will normally alert behemoths, but I guess if you pull them like that, they're just out of line of sight, or out of the alert radius of the behemoths, which is good to know. So you can pull the one behemoth at a time, fight the sentries, and then fight the other behemoth. I think if you might have like a melee ally, which you often have down here, they might pull the other behemoths. So I'm gonna keep that in mind. So maybe like I tell my allies to sit and then I pull the behemoth out in the future. But yeah, we basically just mow these guys down with a proton cannon, kill the other behemoth, and then this entrance goes back to the next floor. I picked through the parts a little bit. And I think I kill a hauler just for another large storage unit. I still have this humpback. It's been the same integrity forever, too. It's crazy. But it's cool. Every branch in Beta 10 has its own ambient sound, so it was cool to dip into this branch for a little bit. Yeah, we just exit through here. Try to get an alert purge, didn't work. Ooh, did some thinking there. A third power slot. I've never done this before. I actually liked it a lot this run. It makes sense we're using EM weapons, a lot of energy hungry utilities. I'm looking to use a force field or something later. So research, another new ambient background noise, and a bunch of new machines. It's got a completely different vibe with the audio. Research is brutal for combat builds. If you saw my last Cogmind series on YouTube, you will know that. I never appreciated how good the those particle reactors that those guys drop are. I think they might be better than the antimatter reactor, or very close. Oh, so let me pause here. I jumped into a random exit there. I was like, I just want to get off this floor. I forgot it dropped me into testing, a research branch. You're not supposed to take Farcom into research branches. This might be the first game I've actually played with Farcom, which is probably why I didn't realize that. But yeah, it puts you into instant maximum security, and it's usually game over. The exits are pretty easy to identify. This is a prefab I'm looking at the bottom right there, for a really nice item that I considered grabbing, but I don't think I had the time, so I ended up walking away. But yeah, I figured there's a pretty good chance we just lose here. I'm just running straight to the exit. It's always on the right side of the map, either at the top or the bottom. Now that's sentries, when they're 4 in a row like that, that's how they guard exits, so I knew the exit was right there. So we lower them, and then, what, 7 freaking ARCs come out. Maximum security. I want to cut through this wall and get to the exit, but I don't want to do it while all the ARCs are there, so I'm trying to like let them come up around first. God, they're dropping prototype bots on us. That's brutal. I was an executioner. We somehow survived that. Now here's the problem. Our influence is 1100, and that is what's going to get us killed in research. I finally swapped out that humpback. It was getting beat up. The humpback gives us, wow, 6 more inventory slots than 2 large storage units. No, 8? Is it 8? 2 large storage units is 12 inventory. Humpback is 20. Wow, humpback's efficient. That's crazy. I played this a little poorly, actually. We should have been using high cap storage. I guess we didn't get any. I could have fabbed some, but we actually never found any. But with wheels, you have a lot of capacity. You can carry high cap storage, and that's what I should have been using, like 3 high caps instead of 4 large storages, or even like 2 high caps. So we want to get off of this floor as soon as possible. We want to do whatever we can to reduce our alert. We never found another NC coupler, and I think I used that other one before already. And I think I skipped through it, but on one of the last factory floors we were on, I checked like 3 or 4 garrisons for couplers, and none of them had NC couplers. I didn't go inside of them, I just checked the one on the map. 2 or 3 of them are empty, which was really weird too. I don't know, I got really bad luck, because if I had couplers, like 2 or 3 NC couplers, we could have gotten our alert to manageable levels here. But luckily we have a pretty strong combat build here. We get some armor, we got some good EM weapons, we got this Q cap and this particle charger, this energy filter, and I equipped a targeting computer now, we got some cooling. We got like a really nice build here, and we can sustain it with these 3 power supplies. I'm trying to farm these sentries for their armor. I think these ones have heavy armor now. And their engines for backups. So I got 4 fresh particle reactors, which is really nice. Okay, so that sentry was sitting on an exit. Now I'm terrified of going back into an exit right now, without knowing where it is, because I don't want to end up in another research branch and get wrecked from Farcom again. I found an advanced train scan processor, so I equipped it. I figured it'd help us finding an exit. We can just rip it off. It really helps. We're revealing a ton of tiles now as we move around. I can support this advanced shield generator now that I have all these 3 particle reactors. We're at 820 energy. Plus 42 per turn. Good stuff. There's another stair. So that sentry saw us at the same time the Exterm squad got to us. So I pull into here where we don't really get surrounded. Throw in the damper plating to fight the programmers. I tuck back into the room so that he can't shoot us. He has to walk all the way. He can't shoot us from out in the corridor. And I had damper plating on, so the programmers weren't really dangerous. Now I'll just tell you what happens here. I have 2 exits. I spend a long freaking time looking for a signal interpreter or a terminal I can hack to figure out where the heck these lead so I don't end up in a research branch, because another research branch would probably kill me. I don't think we get as lucky as we did on the last floor. And I have 0% indirect access main, even with the hacking suite, and I don't know if I'd have bought that up or not. And this is kind of where we lose the game. Spoiler alert, I die on access. But I spend a long freaking time just running around looking for a signal interpreter. We've ended up fighting a lot of ARCs. We're very high influence. A lot of times we fight multiple assaults whenever they dispatch them. And I basically lose everything. At some point I lose some heavy armor plating. And it's just, research is just mean in general sometimes, and this one is not an exception. Look at this, 6 high-level grunts. Fight all these hunters. We have a good combat build. We hold up for quite a while. Ooh, juked that ARC. So there was apparently no watchers on that side of the map, so I decided to keep branching out further. I find some watchers and I can't even kill them with a freaking enhanced Nova cannon. I'm just like prioritizing killing them over the other guys. Of course I'm adding a lot of heat, so I didn't melt them, but that does reduce the chances of them leaving fragile parts. Not as bad as EM does. That's which why I didn't use EM against them. Like a Gauss rifle or some kind of kinetic weapon without minus salvage would probably be the way to attack them for salvage normally. I guess I could have shot them like once with the proton cannon. But yeah, we end up killing like 3 watchers and we don't get the signal interpreter. And eventually we're just getting too beat up. I don't have any engines. Look, 2 more ARCs just came from down here. I think I run from these guys and just go to this exit. I'm like, we're just gonna die if I stay on this floor anyways. I'm out of energy. I'm out of wheels. I have a leg equipped just for some prop armor. I'm running out of everything. We're back in 5x, which means high sec could hit at any time as well. So yeah, that dipping into that research branch killed us because we raised our alert to a point where it was unrecoverable. And it's interesting because it killed us like 2 maps later, but that's ultimately what got us. And I just say screw it, we have to go in here. I'll die in a research branch if I have to. And the first staircase we came across at the very beginning of the level happened to be the one we were looking for. So we're now on the final level of the game. We are on -1 access. Our influence is still super high. But it's a fresh start. Again, no NC couplers. I checked so many garrisons, we never found another one, so... In a normal game, I probably would have went into a garrison at some point, but I wasn't trying to do that on this game. And there's... There's the signal interpreter I spent so long looking for in the last map. I pretty much have a ton of inventory space, a ton of slots to fill, so I'm just grabbing everything. You can often restock pretty good if you find a few lucky stockpiles on this map. I don't think I do. And if you think research is bad, this is a really big map. Now, I've been carrying a bunch of hacking suites. I had 1 hacking suite and 1 system shield. Actually, I just grabbed one of those. Trying to purge my threat, it did not work. Yeah, we're just fighting assaults, programmers. It gets ugly. Ooh. I lost almost everything, actually. This is the fight, the final stand. I just stripped everything. I wanted to try and grab a flight unit that was there, but it didn't work. I kept the AWS thermal on because that seemed like something that I could kill things with, even without like any other supporting utilities or power or anything. Core propulsion is pretty good for running around like this. That's a new. I picked up a random prototype, I guess. That's a new drone type, stealth drone bay. There's a drone overhaul in beta 10. So I actually got terminal index off here. Which you can kind of find the exit with. That's the command branch exit, which we don't really want to go there. We want to go to another exit. There's one terminal next to the exit and a lot of like dead space, so you can kind of figure it out. So I saw the terminal to the south, and I was wondering if that could have been it because it looked like a candidate. And actually, let me pause here. Whoops. Oh God. I actually, oh no, I guess in hindsight it's not. I was wondering if this was the exit because one side has a terminal and a reinforced barrier, and the other side has two behemoths. But this definitely is not it. Okay. I remember when I was playing, I was like, could that have been it? This is so brutal. Pick up a lance, I have a tool to dig with. It's light enough that I can carry it while on core. And yeah, we just race around, desperately trying to find the exit. Whoops. Nothing at the bottom looks too promising. Yeah, see, I just identified that that could have been it. Looking at the layout with the behemoth there that we just saw, I know it wasn't, but we're in desperation mode at this point. So desperate that we try to run past an ARC. And they shot off my lance as I was digging there. Yeah, so that was it. But no, that run was a lot of fun. The end there really highlighted how having high alert and no way to manage it can really, really hurt you. And Riff is usually, in my opinion, a great way to deal with it, but it was not that run. Those NC couplers, so I'm gonna do another run similar to that. Energy cannons. I'm gonna do one with legs and one with wheels sometime soon. And I'll probably do a Riff again, but I'll actually do branches, and we'll try and go to the extended endgame and stuff like that. But I figured I'd try and keep this video spoiler free as possible, so I was like, let's not go into branches. I wanted to explore as much as possible. I could probably do another run like that as like a flight run or something and explore like all the branches and get like all of the soundscapes. But this was a lot of fun. It seemed like a cool little project. Got to check out and show off some of the new sounds in Cogmind, and it was really interesting to play with only the ambient audio and the background noise and nothing else going on. But I hope this little recap was good. I figured since there was no commentary, we could just go through and talk about it a bit. I didn't want to spend a long time going through every move, but I figured we could skip around like we did. It would be fun. And I want to do all this fresh on my mind, so I hope you enjoyed that. If anyone has any other questions about the runs or something that I skipped or any other decisions or anything we talked about, feel free to ask in the comments. Go find me on Discord. I like talking about the games and stuff on there. I'm pretty active on there. And I'll answer any questions y'all have. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, and until next time, I will see you guys. Thanks for watching.